Zulfiqar Ali Kalhoro is an anthropologist and head of the Department of Development Studies at the Pakistan Institute of Development Economics, Islamabad. His main areas of interest are religion and folk and rock art of Pakistan, especially in Sindh. He has also been working on the representation of women in folk romance paintings of Sindh. Over to you, Zulfiqar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let me just share the format of this session. We have total 30 minutes for this session. So first we will have a presentation by Amardeep Singh ji, and then we will take questions from audience. So Amardeep, you have 20 or 15 minutes for presentation, followed by question and answers.
Thank you, ji.
So over to you.
Hello. First and foremost, I want to thank the Karachi Literature Festival to have given this platform, because I think this topic needs to be talked and reminded once again and again in the context of Pakistan, because in my mind this legacy has rapidly in the 7 decades lost its footprints from these lands. So I'm really obliged to Karachi Literature Festival that they've given me this time. Unfortunately, they don't have a ticker, so I'm going to be looking at him to keep changing the slides. I'm going to spend about 10 to 12 minutes just giving you a small visual outlay of what I've done. So the book that we've got is this particular book. It's a 500-page book. The quest continues, Lost Heritage, the Sikh Legacy in Pakistan. The quest continues means the khoj jari hai abhi. And this is a sequel to the first book that I had done, which is Lost Heritage, the Sikh Legacy in Pakistan. So totally in 1,000 pages, these 2 works have been done. Now, before I start, I just want to recognize one thing, that out of this couplet, which is a Punjabi couplet, that though my work is anchored in the Sikh legacy in Pakistan, it's trying to search the remnants of the Sikh legacy across Pakistan, but we have to recognize that the outcome of partition had impacted all the communities. And this couplet which says, "Ina akhan di lali pe dasdi hai, roye tusi vi ho, te roye asi vi ha." So we have to start with that, because I, as one human being, cannot possibly document such legacies for all communities. But what I always hope is that such works should inspire a Muslim to do a similar documentation of their legacy, which also got wiped out in East Punjab. I hope this inspires a Hindu or a Jain to also document the Hindu and Jain legacy, which also experienced a similar outcome in the lands that became Pakistan. So that's why I want to start with that. Also, I want to say, I've written up there, the partition did not impact just Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, Parsis. It also impacted atheists. Atheists are non-believers. The lines have been drawn based on your faith, but atheists ka koi mazhab nahi hota. But he's also impacted out of this. So who's going to document the legacy of the atheists? So therefore, we've got to start from that background. But my work is anchored in the Sikh legacy. Next. Now, why I thought this first book, which I did a journey across Pakistan in 2014, why I thought this book was very important to be documented. I am a corporate executive. I am not an anthropologist. I am not a historian. I have spent 25 years traveling around the world, working with American Express, and I was in a pretty senior level based out of Singapore as the Asia Pacific regional head for revenue management for the cards business of American Express. My life has been changed thanks to Pakistan. In many ways, I say, after 25 years of high-pressure job, my blood pressure has got cured thanks to Pakistan, because I started on this journey. And it's been the most fulfilling journey of documenting these 2 books for the future generations. Now, the context of this is that in 2014, when I left my job, because of certain personal reasons, I was going to pick up another job. It was just a small break I was taking. I took a 6 months break. But I thought I need to go to Pakistan simply to see my father's place. Now, unfortunately, in 7 decades of partition, you see, memories are short. We are now in the 4th and the 5th generation right now. And in the entire Sikh mindset, the presence of the legacy in the lands that became Pakistan is today reduced to the realms of religion. Because when you talk to anyone in Pakistan, in the Sikh community outside of Pakistan, whether it be in India or whether it be anywhere in the world, and you ask them, if you had a free access to go to Pakistan, where would you want to go? The answer essentially would always be Nankana Sahib, where Baba Nanak was born, or Panja Sahib. So memories are so short that everyone today has made the presence of the Sikh legacy in Pakistan as Makkah and Medina for us. But the question is, agar, go back. I will tell you when to move. Go back. Yeah. When you look at this map, what I'm trying to show here is 1849, the last kingdom that was acquired by the British, what actually became the unified India, was in 1849, the Lahore Darbar, which the British called it as a Sikh kingdom, but I call it as a Punjabi kingdom, because it had a very secular footprint. Ranjit Singh's Darbar had Muslim ministers at very senior positions, Hindu ministers, 50% of his army comprised of Muslims. It was a very, very secular footprint, the Lahore Darbar. एक मिनट, मैं आपको बताऊंगा. Please go back. मैं आपको बताऊंगा. अब एक आराम से करें. So, if you look at this slide, what I've done is, what became India and Pakistan, on that I've overlaid what was the Punjabi kingdom. Now, by doing that, what comes out in 1849 is the last state that's acquired by the British. And today when you look at it and you overlay the state, you find that 80% of that kingdom is in Pakistan today. Now the question then is, were my forefathers so incompetent, or are the history books telling me lies or non-factual things that the entire legacy is today just restricted to Nankana Sahib and Panja Sahib? Because this empire, the Lahore Darbar, thanks to Lahore Darbar, that Kashmir, Baltistan, the Khyber area, the Durand line, it was all crafted in this empire, but people have forgotten that. And when British came inside, all this became a part of the acquisition of Lahore Darbar. So therefore, I came into Pakistan, and this was a chance, it was like for 25 years I was reading the history of this land, I was delving into various aspects of spirituality and so on and so forth. When I landed in this land, it's the people who have made me do this work, because I was just motivated to go and search. But I thank the people of Pakistan. When I landed in Lahore, they embraced me. They understood my quest, they understood my motivation, and there starts my journey. And in just a span of 30 days, I sometimes cannot believe myself, I had traveled to 36 cities and villages across Pakistan. From Muzaffarabad to Jamrod and down to Multan. And that, when I went back, I never came to Pakistan to write a book. I call myself as an accidental author, because I was a finance executive. And I just went back and I thought, you know what, why has a divine power shown me so much? And why is it that before me, in 7 decades, people have not experienced this? So therefore, I decided to spend some time, 1 year of my life, to write this book. The first book is what I showed you earlier, came out as titled Lost Heritage, the Sikh Legacy in Pakistan. Now, what I didn't realize was that there was such a large demand in the minds of the people, and this is an opportunity for Pakistan that I'm trying to actually work with the Evacuee Trust Property Board, because out of the 30 million Sikh population in the world, 10 million stay outside of India. Even if you try and tap that 10 million population, the tourism potential for Pakistan is phenomenal, right? But things have to change. So I documented this, and the demand was so much that for 75 sessions around the world in 8 months, this was in 2016, I just couldn't go back to the corporate world. I was just being called from one place to the other, into universities and so on and so forth, and this became my life. But then, let's move on. Then what happened, in this journey, what I've tried to show is the two sides of the coin. One is what you see on your left-hand side, and I thank the Pakistan government for this, that when partition happened, only one site was operational, which was Nankana Sahib, where Baba Nanak was born. In the 7 decades, today, approximately 22 plus Gurdwaras are functional. And for that, I thank the Pakistan government that you've moved it from one place to 22, right? But the problem is huge, because when the vacuum was created, the communities moved away and migrants came and then occupied it. Many such places were used for new purposes. And what you see on the right hand side is a beautiful place called, in a village called Mangat, near Mandi Bahauddin. If you see the frescoes inside, it's nothing less than the Golden Temple. The beauty of this is fabulous, but it's a hidden treasure from you all also, right? And I was able to go in here, and I say the potential lies in these places, but they are on the verge of extinction. So I've tried to show both the facets of the reality in the first book. Now, after having spoken to about 75 places around the world, when I came back to Singapore, you know, any creative process is a process of your own, what we use as a word in Gurbani, which is in the Sikh traditions, or we use it in the Indian tradition, is a state called Virha. I don't know how Virha would be the appropriate word in Sufism or in Islam, but it's an intense pain of separation when your soul is trying to merge with the God. For me, God in this case was my work, the documentation of the legacy. I was feeling that there's something that's incomplete, and I wanted to document more because the next generation needs to see it in these papers that there was something. Because all this is going to finish off. And I just didn't know how to do it again, because first time it just looked like a chance it happened. And possibilities were there, but I didn't know how to do it. And then the divine chose it again. And I was invited for a conference in Islamabad because I had spoken. I tried in my talks not to break the people, because you know, I and you cannot change what's happened. But what we can do is to learn from this and try and embrace each other, right? So when I talked that way, the Pakistan government invited me for a conference, and I just put in a small request to Pakistan government. I said, Janab, मैं जमरोद तक गया था, where it is the frontier beyond Peshawar, where Hari Singh Nalwa died in creating the new frontier in a battle against the Afghans. And I said, I was not able to go inside the Jamrod fort because it's with the army. And I requested the embassy, please enable me to go inside and just see that fort from inside. मैंने सिर्फ इतनी डिमांड की थी, और हुआ क्या कि जब मैं यहाँ आया तो था हफ्ते के लिए, लेकिन 50 दिन में वापस नहीं गया, right? And what came out from there then is the next book, which we're talking about here. Now when I look at this, it surprises me more and more, because what we've been able to map inside this is a journey across 90 cities and villages, which I've myself walked. So in these two books, what we have done now is a mapping of 126 cities and villages, the remnants of the Sikh legacy. It's the first comprehensive documentation that's happened for the future generation. Now what I want to do in the next few minutes is give you some examples and insights, right? चलें आप आगे. जैसे सागरी में, ये मैं आपको एक विजुअली दिखाना चाह रहा हूँ. ये एक रिमेन्स ऑफ एक गुरुद्वारा है सागरी, which is in the Potuhar region. And this village is, वो center में between the two pillars, there used to be a platform like this where our Granth Sahib used to be kept and people would read. Now that Granth Sahib, that platform has been dug and it's been raised to the ground, but the Gurdwara is still standing. The Gurmukhi inscriptions and everything is there. Now when I went there, an old man from the village happened to come inside, and his name was Azmat. अब बात में उन्होंने एक बड़ी profound बात कह दी, जो मैंने अपनी इस किताब में जिक्र किया है, and it says a lot, these two lines. He says, Sardar ji, after you all left, this was converted into a hospital. I said, it's great, it was used for a good purpose, right? And then he says, then the hospital one day vanished. They just packed up the bag and they vanished. But then what he tells me is that I remember as a small child, I was sitting in the audience there, and on this platform, there was a Kawal group sitting here, and they were singing a Kawali, and he says, उसकी जो दो लाइनें मैं आपको सुनाता हूँ, और वो कहते हैं, एक नशा चढ़ा और उतर गया, एक नशा चढ़ा और उतर गया, ले संभाल अपनी इमारतें, मेरे सर से कर्जा उतर गया. In saying that, he had said a lot, which made me think that yes, times have changed, and we need to kind of bring this forward now. आगे चलें. ये आर्किटेक्चर जो आप देखते हैं, some of these places, I've called this chapter as Gaudis of Punjab. Gaudis जो हैं, स्पेन के एक आर्किटेक्ट हैं, who has actually beautifully made, जो भी कोई स्पेन में गया होगा and Barcelona में, and if you see Gaudi's architecture, वो out of cement and out of bricks, he creates such beautiful structures. And actually मैंने इसको कहा कि पंजाब में जो architects थे, actually if you see that Emnabad Rodi Sahib का गुरुद्वारा, and if you observe the architecture, these Punjabi Sikhs had never met Spain में Gaudi, but Gaudi was doing this architecture in Spain at the same time when this Gurdwara was being made. And interestingly, they have used a similar architecture. Now, this is the beauty of Pakistan. If you want to actually maximize this potential, Sikhs will come here. But something needs to change to be done to this, right? Let's move on. I want to talk about Sultan Than Singh. At near the river Indus, there's a place called Kot Fateh Khan. I went there. Again, the villagers thronged me out there. And so he came in and he says, मैंने ऊपर देखा, and there were a lot of places, there were these Urdu characters. So most of the Gurdwaras would always have Urdu and Gurmukhi only written in them, right? जो पुराने गुरुद्वारे थे जो मैंने notice किया है. But in the Urdu script, there were some black marks. And in the Gurmukhi, there was no black mark. So I asked him, थोड़ी मैं उर्दू पढ़ लेता हूँ. So I asked him, ये सर ये black mark क्यों लगा दिया गया है? तो he says, इस तरह है जी, मैं पंजाबी में बोलता हूँ, फिर उसको जिसको समझ नहीं आया तो I'll try a little bit translation in English. उसने कहा इस तरह है कि जिथे जिथे बाबा थान सिंह लिखिया सीगा ना, we used to call them our saints as babas, right? बाबा थान सिंह लिखिया सीगा, आज पिंड दे अंदर ओनू हटा के रखता है, because people say this is no more the Baba Than Singh, he's our Sultan Than Singh. मतलब कहने की बात है वही एक थान सिंह जो थे आज बाबा से सुल्तान थान सिंह बन गए हैं. बट जो उसकी आप आर्किटेक्चर देखें, उसके अंदर में जो फ्रेस्कोस देखें, ये खत्म होने को जा रहा है. मैं अपील करता हूं गवर्नमेंट को कि ऐसी साइट्स को सेव किया जाए. बिकॉज ये देखिए, हेरिटेज का कोई मजहब नहीं होता. जब लोग चले जाए ना, हेरिटेज का मजहब नहीं होता. फिर हेरिटेज फिर पाकिस्तान की हेरिटेज है. इसको आप अगर अपनाएंगे सो वी कैन एक्चुअली मेक चेंज आउट ऑफ दिस. नेक्स्ट चलें. हरी सिंह नलवा का ये जमरोद का किला मैंने जाना था, तो इसके अंदर आदमी है, वो जमरोद का किला, ये 44 डेज में सिख फोर्सेस ने बनाया था हरी सिंह नलवा के कमांड के अंदर. इसके ऊपर खड़े कर किताब के अंदर मैंने एक पिक्चर दिखाई है जो खैबर पास की तरफ देख रहा है, और खैबर पास के दो माउंटेन्स ऐसे आके मिल रहे हैं, उसके अंदर से इन्वेजन्स होते थे जो. एंड दिस इज जस्ट चेकिंग दैट. तो पंजाब का जो फ्रंटियर था यहाँ पे क्रिएट किया गया था. जो रूम आप ऊपर देख रहे हैं, दैट रूम is where Hari Singh Nalwa's body was kept after he died in the battle. Now this room is in a bad shape. I requested the commander, sir, spend a little bit of money and save this room, because boundaries can be opened up in some time. You know, if you look at history, boundaries are never static. I can't see in the future what will happen to the boundaries and what will happen to the visa regimes, but I can tell you one thing, that if this place is open to the Sikhs at some point in the future, Sikhs will pay through their dollars to come and see this room. Just one room they will pay. That's the potential that holds out here. Just move on and I'll bring this to a closure. I just want to quickly talk about, we are sitting in Sindh. What people have forgotten is the 3 million Sindhis, as we call them as Sindhi Hindus, they are believers of Nanak. The definition of Sikhism becomes very syncretic in Sindh. We have forgotten, you have to go and actually immerse yourself in the Sindhi society along the Indus belt, and you'll find traditions like the Gurdwaras, the syncretic places where the Granth Sahib is the centric aspect, and I've actually tried to cover that. And the last piece I just want to talk about is a very positive story. I went to Balochistan, and I went to the school called Special School. तो कई साहब हेडमास्टर थे. मैं संडे को वहाँ पहुँचा तो द स्कूल वॉज क्लोज. सो आई रिक्वेस्टेड द गार्ड, कैन आई गो इनसाइड. उन्होंने कहा आप अंदर नहीं जा सकते, हम हेडमास्टर को फ़ोन करते हैं. नाउ द हेडमास्टर वाज सच अ काइंड पर्सन. द मोमेंट ही कॉल्ड हिम, ही सेड एक सिख आए हैं सिंगापुर से, इसलिए उनको आप बोलिए वहीं रुके, मैं अभी आता हूँ. तो ही केम इन 20 मिनट्स. अंदर लेके गए, बिठाया, उन्होंने पिक्चरें दिखाई जो वॉल पे लगाई हुई हैं. जब आप देखें द हॉकी टीम विच कंप्राइज्ड ऑफ अबाउट 40% Sikhs. Sikh presence in Quetta was large, which is totally finished today, right? In fact, Manishankar Ayarji is here. His wife today is supposed to go to Quetta tomorrow because she comes from there. But while I was sitting there, I asked Tokai ji, Tokai sahab, is school ka naam special school kyun rakha? Because I thought it was for special children. He says, Sardar ji, Sikh ye Khalsa school tha. Sikh isko bana ke chale gaye aur hame ye tohfa de ke chale gaye. Ye koi special kaam nahi hua kya?
Okay, so
with that, I want to end by saying, in today, the last slide I want to show, if you see the syncretic worship places, there's not a man with turban. In Quetta, all are the believers of Nanak who are reading the Granth Sahib, and this is the only place in Pakistan you'll yet find the Granth Sahib written in Urdu and in Gurmukhi. In India, you do not find the Granth Sahib anymore in Urdu. With that, I want to bring this to an end.
Okay. Thank you very much, Amardeep, for giving an interesting overview of your work that you have done in most of part of the world. So just before I open floor for question and answers, I just wanted to ask you very simple questions. What difference do you see in terms of architecture between Sikh monuments in Punjab and those in Sindh?
Okay, I will not mince words. Okay, what architecture difference you see? First and foremost, can I just take the liberty of saying that let's compare it with India in here and then get to Sindh? Can I do that?
But very quickly, because
Okay.
we have only.
All right. Now, when partition happened, I'll try and
minutes.
close it very quickly. When partition happened, the Sikhs went into the East Punjab. There is not a footprint of what beautiful heritage footprints that you have in Pakistan, although it's all diminishing fast, but Sikhs went there and they modernized them with marble and gold, and I don't find any motivation to study those monuments in East Punjab because there's nothing left to study as to how my forefathers were thinking. Those footprints are still lying uncared in Pakistan, and that's where lies the potential. Now talking about Sindh, I think the difference between Sindh and Punjab would be, one is the domed structure, the blending of the Mughal architecture with that of the Sikh architecture in the Gurdwaras is what you'll find in Punjab. In Sindh, you'll find them more open, like darbars, and the architecture becomes more kind of an open format, doesn't matter.
Okay, so like building on your last point, Darbar, because why do we call Darbar? In Sindh, when we say Darbar, this term is more related to the Sikh shrines. When we say Naning Panthis are basically a blend of Sikh and Hindu religion in Sindh. But this is a little bit difference between architecture in Punjab and Sindh. The most of the monuments that we have in Sindh are greatly influenced by the Islamic architecture that we have in Sindh. So like we have Udasis. So I mean, as I have read in your book, you have also rightly mentioned, Sindh has always received the mystic traditions from other parts of the Pakistan. So like when we talk about Sikhism in Sindh, we are basically referring to the one of the very important sects within Sikhism, that is Udasi. Am I right?
Yes.
So like Udasis, we have a large number of the Udasi Darbar in Sindh. So I will not take much time in discussing my own research that I am doing in Sindh. So like now floor is open for question and answer. We will take only 3 questions. Please feel free to ask questions, but I would appreciate if you kindly ask questions, no commentaries, please.
Quick question, Amardeep Saab. I've not had the opportunity of reading your book, but do you profile in this book the Gurdwara at Acheson College in Lahore?
Absolutely. I mean,
You do?
Acheson College is there.
Perfect.
Pretty
Because
much.
I think that's the only place in Pakistan where you have a Gurdwara, a mandir, and a mosque
Absolutely.
in the
And
same institution.
And I think it's maintained well because it's inside the Acheson College.
It's a library.
So that
Yes.
has already been documented. Okay,
All right,
so
thank
next
you.
question. Please pass on the mic again.
Sir, thank you for taking us through Sikh legacy in Pakistan. So apart from visa regulations, preservation of sites, what else do you expect from people of Pakistan and government of Pakistan?
I think the number one thing that we have to do is to talk and become aware and own this as your own heritage, right? When you start talking and accept that this is not about any conflicts here. Conflicts have happened and they're over now. This is your heritage. You will start finding ways to change. Believe me, for me, it's not been an easy journey. For a man to come from Singapore and travel 126 cities and villages, it's people like you who have embraced me, who have made these works possible. So I thank the people of Pakistan who have done it, because I could not have done all this. But the fact remains that we have to now start getting the dialogue phase. So I'm having these dialogues with the Evacuee Trust Property Board. I'm seeing the willingness that they want to do it, but we have to accept one thing. Not all can be preserved. Because we are at a point of a tipping point where much will fall off soon. So the question is, how do we pick up a few monuments and how do we quickly preserve them in a manner that we can showcase to the future generation this is what the traditions was. The biggest problem right now is the Evacuee Trust Property Board is now anchoring towards the Sikh groups coming in from India with funding and giving them contracts who have not proven themselves what heritage maintenance is in India. Now, heritage is lying here, it's your property. If you do it collectively with foundations like Aga Khan Foundation and others, we can bring about a change and show to the world what Sikh heritage used to be and what it is still preserved properly in Pakistan.
Yes, next.
नमस्ते वाहेगुरु मेरा सवाल ये था कि एक्चुअली हिंदू और सिख में फ़र्क क्या है क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो हिंदू हैं वो पगड़ी नहीं पहनते लेकिन स्टिल डू प्रैक्टिस सिखिज़म तो ये अलग रिलीजन है या फिर ये हिंदुइज़म से ही
मैं इसका जवाब छोटा सा रखता हूँ बिकॉज आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट रिलीजन हियर इसका छोटा सा जवाब है बाबा नानक ने इसका जवाब दिया है ना को हिंदू ना मुसलमान लेट्स बी ह्यूमंस फर्स्ट
थैंक यू
देखो बच्चे मैं भी बताता हूँ आपको जो आप ये सवाल आपने किया है ना ये वाला ट्रेडिशन सिंध में ज़्यादा है कि जितने भी जो नानक पंथीज हैं ना वो जो हिंदू वो बेसिकली पूजते हैं गुरु नानक को तो इसलिए ये वाला जो सिलसिला है ना वो यही है कि बेसिकली दे आर वर्शिपर्स ऑफ गुरु नानक और बाबा श्री चंद
अगर आप सिख मेरे से एक छोटा सवाल कोई पूछता है कि हाउ मेनी सिख्स आर इन पाकिस्तान आई से यू वांट अ शॉर्ट आंसर योर लॉन्ग आंसर द शॉर्ट आंसर इज देयर आर अबाउट 13 to 15,000 turban wearing Sikhs who were all beyond Peshawar along the Afghanistan border area when partition happened they are the ones who are around in Pakistan and there are few Punjabi Sikhs also but the bigger answer is and the most revealing answer is there are 3 million believers of Guru Nanak and they are along the Indus belt you think they are Hindus in their mind they are believers of Nanak We still have time. We can take more questions.
Yes, we have. We can extend for more and more because you see the lady what they're
Since you have
showing
traveled
again
all
and
over
again.
Pakistan, so within Sikh community, how many languages are being spoken within Pakistan?
Question is whether you are talking Sikh as a culture group or as a religion. Okay, so culture has no languages, right? My father only knew Gurmukhi and Urdu. I have spent time with the Pashtun Sikhs, right? They talk to me, they struggle to talk to me in Punjabi, but at home they speak Pashto fluently, right? So the point I'm trying to make is, let's not link religion with, language with religion. And that's something that we have done unfortunately after Pakistan, that Urdu's become a Muslim language, Hindi's become a Hindu language, and Gurmukhi's become a Sikh language. We need to move away from that.
Sir, my name is Shahid and I'm a lawyer by profession. There are Sikh organizations in our country which are very proactive.
Sorry, I can't see who's asking this question.
I'm Shahid, I'm a lawyer by profession, sir.
Yeah.
So there are Sikh organizations in this country which are very proactive in protecting their interests. Recently, Sikhs went to court against government's decision to not include Sikhism as a religion in population census forms, and they got relief, I think. So my question is, don't you think that Pakistani Sikhs should also play a role in, preserving their heritage? They should be leading the campaign because we have a vast majority here of Sikhs. Thank you.
Absolutely yes, but you got to understand a land where existed more than 25 million Sikhs. Today we are struggling with a community of 14 to 15,000 turban wearing people. So there's been a void. And that void, as I said earlier in my presentation, at the time of partition, the contract between India and Pakistan was only to keep Nankana Sahib operational, which is the birthplace of Guru Nanak. Between then and now, it's taken us good about 55, 60 years to open up 23 more Gurdwaras. The change has happened very slowly, right? Now, today I see, look, I have been able to walk after 7 decades across Pakistan and document in 1,000 pages these 2 books. Why haven't these works been done earlier? Let's ask that question. Change is happening and it's happening positively, but it's taken too long, right? So let's hope through these works and through these dialogues, we can bring about change faster.
So,
Hi sir, Assalamu alaikum. मैं आपसे पूछना था कि I've always felt from the start कि there's a hostility between, it's always us versus them. जब भी हम Sikhism की या Muslims की बात करते हैं, and I felt कि maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, partition के बाद से ये जो feeling of hostility है, ये आहिस्ता आहिस्ता बढ़ रही है. What do you think is the main reason behind this hostility? Even with
I don't think there's any hostility if you really understand humanity and if you understand Baba Nanak. Baba Nanak's best friend who traveled with him all around the world was a Muslim, Baba Bhai Mardana. And he used to say, I'm getting the divine sermons, and Mardana used to pick up his rabab and start singing, right? So narratives have been post-partition turned into such a manner. Look, we got, as I said earlier, Inna aakha di lali pe dasdi hai, roye tusi bhi aur roye asi bhi, right? So we have to accept that narratives after 47 have been conditioned to do this, right? That was low point in our history. Golden Temple's foundation stone, the fifth Guru actually invited Sai Mia Mir from Lahore to come and lay down. My most holiest shrine, the first foundation stone is laid by a Muslim, Baba Farid's, who was 250 years before Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak went to Pakpatan to get his writings, and it's the first place where it was documented was in the Granth Sahib. Point I'm saying is, there are a lot of similarities. Do we want to focus on similarities, or we want to focus on distrust? The question is to you.
So now I wanted to close this session by saying that I think this book is very important in the sense, the earlier book by Amardeep Singh ji basically covered most of the monuments that were located in Punjab and some parts of the KP, but like this present book actually has covered also the monuments in Sindh and also in Balochistan. So I think this is wonderful effort by Amardeep Singh ji, and I hope that there will be another sequel, the volume number 3 that he is planning to write. So now, thank you very much for joining for this session.